Hey there, this is the Top Floor Please podcast, where women in leadership rise together. I'm your host, Melissa McCormick, executive coach and founder of the Grace and Salt Leadership Academy. This is your space to find clarity, grow in confidence, and lead with bold authenticity. Whether you're navigating the boardroom, building your team, or stepping into new territory, you're not alone. Let's talk real challenges, real growth, and real leadership, because the top floor isn't just a place, it's a mindset. All right, let's get started.
All right. Welcome. This is episode number 2. Today we're talking about how to get promoted to an executive level without burning out or playing politics. Ooh, good one. Playing politics. So if you've ever felt like the only way to get promoted is to outwork everyone or play that political game, well, today's episode is for you. We're talking about how to get promoted to the executive level without burning out or pretending to be someone you're not. The truth is, you don't need a title to lead like a CEO. That's what we talked about in our last episode. You just need to start showing up like one. So we're going to continue that conversation. So I want to first talk about executive presence, right? What is it? So that's where we're going to start. So executive presence isn't about being the loudest person in the room or the one with all the answers. It's not about being perfect. And it's definitely not about pretending to be someone you're not, right? So executive presence at its core is about how people experience you. Like, do you inspire trust? Do you communicate with clarity and calm under pressure? Do people feel confident following your lead, even informally? That's presence. And it's something you can cultivate at any stage in your career. You don't have to be born with it. You know, they talk about natural born leaders and all of that stuff. This is what you can develop, right? And that comes through practice. So here's what I coach most women. I coach them to begin at self-leadership. You don't expect to trust, you don't expect everyone to trust you, right? If you're consistently second guessing yourself. So you have to change that mindset so that you are confident, because if you believe in yourself, then others are going to believe in you as well. So you need to get clear on what you value, how you lead best, and then people will follow that clarity. Practice regulating your emotions, especially in tough moments. CEOs don't react. In fact, if I wrote a second book, it would be called Quiet Leadership, because there would be plenty of times where I remember going into the president's office and he would have his direct boss from corporate, from like the big corporate office, would be in there. His name was Mike. And we would go in there and there was some crisis or something that was going on. And I would listen and I'd be like, okay, I think this is what I understand. Repeat it back. And I had had several comments from different people in the organization, higher, much, much higher than me, who would say, you just have a presence about you. Like, it's a quiet leadership. And that's when I think of executive presence. That's what I think of. It's a quiet leadership. So that's where you practice regulating your emotions. And this takes time, especially if you are a passionate person. Sometimes passion can come across as emotion and I don't know if they're, leadership material because they're so emotional, right? Like, they're just so emotional. Well, it's sometimes emotions can get confused with passion. Like, I am so passionate about this that I'm going to come across maybe a little bit more aggressive than what you even intended, right? Or that the other person can even accept. So how do I dial that back in the moment so that my passion, I'm still passionate about it, but I'm not coming across as being, too aggressive or assertive, right? So those CEOs, they sit there, they listen, they observe, and then they respond. Presence is built in those pauses. Okay. It does not mean that you're not engaged. It does not mean we had a CFO who practiced this. This was like, he didn't even have to practice it, right? It was who he was. And I learned from him a great deal because he would listen and then he would make his comments and you'd be like, oh my gosh, that is right on. Or if he didn't agree with what you were saying, he would say it in such a way that it didn't get you defensive. It was very collaborative, and it was very peaceful, and always with the customer in mind. It was amazing. So, okay, so now let's make this tangible, right? So we've talked a little bit about executive presence and what it is. But I want you to do some practices, right? I share this with women on our Grace and Salt Leadership Academy program. So I want you to stand tall in the room, right? And posture matters, even when you're on Zoom. So like right now, I'm standing up. I want you to stand up. I want you to stand tall in the room, even on video. So the way you show up physically affects how your message lands. Years ago, we went to Casual Friday, right? Now, Casual Friday was you could wear jeans. You couldn't wear tennis shoes or anything like that, but you could wear jeans. So I'd wear jeans because I could. But I also noticed that my vocabulary changed. Like it was like I was working on a Saturday. So my demeanor relaxed, my word choice relaxed, all of that. And I stopped wearing jeans for a while. And I didn't stop the whole time, but I did stop wearing jeans for a while because I felt that my executive presence, even though I wasn't an executive at the time, I felt my executive presence relaxed, and I didn't want that to happen. So be very conscious, of your posture. So if you're sitting in a chair, sit up straight, right? Sit up straight. Don't slouch. Don't lean back. Speak in sound bites. Get to the point. The most powerful leaders speak clearly without over-explaining. Now, I don't mean to stereotype, but I'm going to. Many women over-explain. Men do too. But sometimes there are women who speak, well, we just use too many words. I learned this in writing my book, where when I sent it to the editor, she came back and said, Melissa, if you have to say 2 sentences that basically say the same thing, get rid of one of them. You only want to have 1 sentence so that it stands on its own. You do not need the supporting sentence unless it provides additional value. Get to the point. Most powerful leaders speak clearly and without over explaining. So state your idea, then pause and let it land. I want you to try that. So in your next meeting, go into it, or in your next conversation, go into it, state your idea, pause, and see what happens. All right, watch your filler words. The filler words, just, sorry, I think. These dilute your presence. Replace them with direct, confident language. You're not bossy, you're clear. Don't start with, this might be a stupid question, but I don't want to start with that. You're going to start with, here's my idea. I think, no, I just did it, didn't I? Here's my idea. Let's, right? Stop the I think, because you already are thinking it. Own the room. Don't fill in. You don't have to say the most to be respected. Sometimes executive presence is knowing when not to speak. It's the ability to listen well, then say what matters. Okay, so don't fill in. Own the room. Don't fill in. Don't fill in the empty. If you're the kind of person that really is uncomfortable with empty, silence, get comfortable with it, because that is absolutely a superpower. Okay, so this is what I want you to remember. Executive presence isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of you. When you pair authenticity with clarity, conviction, and calm, you become magnetic. And that's the kind of presence that moves the room, opens doors, and makes people say, she's ready. Right? So no, you don't need to wait for the title. And no, you don't need to fake it. You just need to own the space you already belong in. All right, remember, executive presence isn't about politics or perfection. I want to talk a little bit about politics. Years and years ago, I had an amazing boss who who I said to him one day, I said, I don't like playing politics. And he said, Melissa, to survive and to grow and to advance in any organization, you better learn how to play politics. Now, I never really learned how to play politics. In fact, I didn't even think I was playing politics, but I was speaking to a good friend of mine, and he said, Melissa, I don't know how you do what you do, but it is amazing. And it's like there's politics, but you don't accept them. And so I end up working the room and working my magic, which some people could say playing politics, but it's not politics from the standpoint of me trying to advance. It's politics from the standpoint of making sure that the company succeeds. If you put your mind and your eye on the company, then you don't even have to worry about politics and drama and all that stuff. Just let it go. Just let it roll off your back. Focus on the company and the customer, and you will be golden. So, all right. So, thanks so much for listening today. If this episode gave you a new perspective, send it to another woman, right? Share this. Share this with another woman who's ready to lead with more confidence. And if you want to build this in a deeper way, come check out the Grace and Salt Leadership Academy. We do this type of work every day. All right. Well, until next time, keep showing up like the leader you are.
Thanks for hanging out on the top floor. If today's episode gave you something to think about or a little boost, share it with your friend and keep the momentum going. And hey, if you're ready to find your voice and lead with clarity and confidence, check out the Esther Project. It's our foundational program at Grace and Salt, and it's built for women like you who are ready to rise. You can learn more at graceandsaltleadership.com. I'll drop the link in the show notes, and remember, you don't have to lead like everyone else, just lead like you. All right, I'll see you next time.